What's going on, everyone, and welcome back to another patch notes update review. Today we have 12.1. This is for season 12, and I guess we have our confirmation that they are going to continue doing Smite 1. They did state a while ago, a few months ago maybe, that they do have a small team for Smite 1 to push out new updates, new things, whatever they decided to be for Smite 1. So it is going to be a small team, so I expect to see some things, but nothing crazy, as most of their funds and resources are probably going to go to Smite 2. But for you people who do not like Smite 2, as I know a lot of you don't, I highly encourage playing it. It is a lot better, I will say, holistically. I wasn't really a fan of Smite 2 when it first came out in its alpha, but as it came out open beta and everything, the item system, how gods feel, how the game phase and how the game feels in its entirety has I've changed my perspective on it, and I think Smite 2 is worth the try, and I do think I'm going to continue doing content for Smite 2 or try to transition over. But 12.1 Smite 2 or Smite 1 Season 12, we're going to see how this goes. And I'm going to be doing Smite 2 update notes for people as well. Very similar to Smite 1, but as per usual, the URL will be in the description down below if you'd like to take a look at this yourself. Laughs of the past 12.1 updates. Update notes. I'm not entirely sure what we expect to see. I'm assuming no more skins. Alright, so this is 5 hours ago. I'm not entirely sure when this is going to go live, but it is the new season 12.1, or season 12, I guess, whatever you'd call it. So game modes. All 3 ranked game modes are now hard reset, so as the new season comes in, there is a hard reset, so everyone's going to be going back to bronze. We're planning to do routine soft resets throughout the year. Keep an eye on patch notes for updates. So they are going to be doing soft resets, probably just going to... If I had to imagine, they're just going to do small things, try to make the game as balanced as possible. Put sort of this game on the back burner for the people who want to continue playing at this base Smite 1. Probably just going to be doing routine maintenance type of things, you know, soft resets, just probably updates like items and god abilities and stuff like that. So I do notice not too long, but also they didn't add any pictures here, so pictures actually add a lot of space. So we're going straight into items. So we're getting some buffs. Duality has increased passive damage from 25% to 30. So Duality was an item that is kind of underrated and specifically good on gods who can build items like Bluestone, Heartseeker, Crusher, and I think I'm missing another item, but I always thought Duality was a pretty good item. And not only that, it still does extra damage similar to like a Hydra's. So I think it was an underrated item for certain gods. Just going to make those guys who build Duality hit a lot more, like Medusa, Marticarus, or even Chiron, which is actually a pretty good item on them too. So not bad. 5% is pretty decent. And speaking of Hydras, get an extra 10 power, which is kind of huge. Not another item, not an item that everyone goes, but on certain gods that really take advantage of it. Usually a lot of assassins, a couple hunters like Uller is going to be really, really good. Rage, I haven't seen this. Oh my god, increased passive physical power. Oh, per stack to 3 to 5. So actually we can go ahead and take a look at the item itself. Alright, so you see killing an enemy god gets an assist. Each stack provides 2% critical chance and 3 physical power, stacked up to 5 times. So you were getting 15 power at total stacks. But now you're getting 25, so an extra 10 power. That's what it reads as. So in total, you're getting an extra 10 power when you fully stack Rage, which is fine. Not a lot of people build Rage. When you get stacked online, it is nice, though. Nothing too crazy. Spirit of Desolation going down by 50 gold. This is another item I like to go on mages as well. Increased passive ultimate cooldown reduction from 6 seconds to 10 seconds. So an extra 4 seconds off your ult when you do get a kill. I think it's also an assist as well. So that's pretty nice. Definitely going to be building more Spirit of Desolation if I ever go back to Smite 1. That's a pretty big change. Spear of the Magus decreased cost from 2400 to 2300. Don't think that item is really all that great outside of a couple gods, and those are some unique builds too, so I wouldn't really think that's all that great. Typhon's Fang increased passive magical power from lifesteal from 1.5 to 1.75, so I believe it was 2 times back in the day. That was back when the mage, the tank mage, the cringe tank mage that still output a lot of damage used to build. It used to be 2, now it's sort of a revert back to in between both of those past Typhon's Fang, so it's actually not bad. It's pretty good. Typhon's Fang on certain... I like building Typhon's Fang on a lot of magical ADCs that can get away with it, seeing as Bancroft's Talon, the glyph is really nice. And so adding Typhon's Fang is really nice as well. Dawnbringer, dude, I forgot this item was a thing. Now always grants 10% increased protections and movement speed with the potential of increasing per enemy god. Now only stacking up to 2 times. Okay. Now always grants 10% increased protection. So you're gonna get... So it used to be where you would ult, right? And whenever you'd ult and be near enemies, you'd get up to like 3 stacks, 30% of increased protections and movement speed. But it only stacks up to 2 times, so you can only get a maximum of 20 increased protections and movement speed. Let's actually take a look at the item in its base form right now. Alright, when your ultimate is finished casting, so when it's finished casting, your protections and movement speed are increased by 10% each enemy god within 55 units, so stacking 3 times for the next 8 seconds. So yeah, you get a maximum of 30 increased movement speed and protections when your ultimate has finished casting. Now the difference between that and this is what it seems like it reads is that now always grants 10% increased protections and movement speed, with the potential of increasing per enemy god, now only stacking up 2 times. So it seems to be the case that instead of ulting and after it's casted you get the increased protections and movement speed, now it seems to be whenever you're near an enemy that you get increased protections and movement speed. That's actually a pretty solid item for Joust because you're always going to be near enemies, or they're always, generally speaking, going to be clumped together, or more likely to be clumped together instead of other game modes, other competitive game modes, that is. So at a decrease for 10%, that being an extra stack, seeing as it only stacks up 2 times, but you always get it whenever you're near enemy, that's actually not bad if I'm reading that correctly. We'll have to see how that changes in-game. That's an interesting item I'd like to take a look at just to get a better idea. Hi-Res seems to not always give the greatest descriptions because I could interpret this in many different ways. I'm not sure. We'll have to see, but it does seem like to be a pretty decent trade-off. We'll have to see actually how good it is. But Dawnbringer was never built ever, which, side note, is one thing I do like about Smite 2. Smite 2 has, obviously there are better items. There are some items better than other items. There are some gods better than other gods. But generally speaking, every single item has some type of playability, some type of use, and it seems to be somewhat balanced within each individual item and god. There's not like a single god that's like, in my opinion, from what I've been playing a little bit of, there's not a single god where I'm like, wow, this god is unplayable and dog shit. So that's one thing I like about Smite 2. So you should try it. Try Smite 2. Breastplated Regrowth, haven't built this in a while, and it's a pretty niche item. I wouldn't say niche, it's actually, it's really only beneficial towards gods who can have a consistent heal. But even with that, Breastplated Regrowth, there's other items that give you better benefits than this item, in my opinion. Like Breastplate of, why can't I think of it? There's Breastplate of Determination, Breastplate of Vigilance. I can fucking name the glyphs, but I can't think of Breastplate of Valor. My god. Okay, I'd rather just build Breastplate of Valor. Anyways, increased passive physical power from 15 to 20, so an extra 5, which is nice. Increased passive duration by 1 second. That's actually a pretty nice increase. I don't know if it might be a little bit more worth compared to Breastplate of Valor. So like on a god like Hercules, there'd be no point in not building this. Now on a god like Amma might be a little bit different. There's probably other better items to go, but that's actually not a bad increase. Absolution, very niche item, but not bad nonetheless. Actually, it's very similar to Amulet of Beads or whatever it's called in Smite 2. Amulet or Beads of Purification, or Amulet of Purification, I think it's called. Obviously better item than Absolution, but Absolution decreased cost from 2250 to 2150. That's pretty good, and increased health by 50. So I think Absolution is getting to a point where I think the base stats might just be really, really fucking good if you're going up against into like a double magical, and then on top of that, the passive Absolution, depending on the team type you go into, might be really, really good. So I don't think it's going to change too much. I don't think. You might see this a little bit more often just because of its base stats, because of how cheap it is, and get it on get it online really fast. But from what it normally did before this buff, I still think you're going to be doing the exact same thing in terms of building this. Only build this when you have like a certain team comp that doesn't have CC immunity, and it would be, you know, beneficial to use your ult to get CC immune and your team. So like a guy like Terra or even Kabrakan, you're still gonna be picking it up on the sort of niche scenarios. It's making it a little bit easier if you need to go it. Going into nerfs, one singular nerf, Tablet Destinies increased max stack or decreased max stacks from 70 to 60. So that was definitely needed. 70 was a little fucking insane. Gods like Tiamat or even tanks like Jormungandr who took advantage of this shit was no bueno. From experience, I'll say it's no bueno going up against it. Now, being it makes you to where late game you just kind of win. So that's going to be that's nice. So you're kind of used to be 50, brought up to 70, going in the middle line, going into 60. I still think it's going to be a very good item. You're still going to want to pick it up. It's just not going to be as crazy late game potential as it was before, which is nice. And honestly, I don't know why we, I'm going to be honest, I don't know why we buffed Tablet Destinies, because the guys that you built it on before still build it. It just makes them even better. So I don't know. So going on to gods, look how small this text is. Super small. Buffs. Why did they do this? That's such okay. Buffs. Erlong Shen. Spot weakness duration increase from 5 seconds to 6. So an extra 1 second. Pin reduced cooldown from 16, scaling it to when you level it up to 14. So you're reducing it by 2 seconds, which is actually pretty nice. Don't think he needed it, honestly. I think Erlong was already in a good spot. This just makes him a little bit better. Makes him a lot more playable, and better in most situations. So I still think that Erlong Shen is a very, very solid god. Guan Yu definitely probably needed a buff. Conviction boost healing amount increased from 1.7 to 2 times. That's nice. That's actually a lot, actually. It's pretty good. Tallow Assault protection buff and debuff durations increased from 5 seconds to 6 seconds. So you're having an extra second on that, which is really nice. So I think Guan Yu is a little bit better. Probably maybe even a tier, depending on how impactful this might be. It seems to be pretty impactful in my opinion, so we'll see. Osiris getting another buff. Another one of those gods that just continuously get buffs. Fragmented says passive attack speed increase from 30% to 40%, extra 10%. I feel like this was at 20% at one point too, if I'm recalling. I don't know, there's so many goddamn buffs to Osiris, I don't even fucking know. Lord of the Afterlife, so if you don't know, in your ult you do get negative CDR, increase from 20% to... oh my god. Imagine building cooldown and getting hit by an Osiris ult and just all your cooldowns gone. And in a way, negative CDR is CDR for you, depending on how often you're able to use it. God or items like God, I don't know what it's called anymore. Smite, because they reuse pictures. So I'm thinking of Cersei's Hexstone in Smite 2, but it's called something else in Smite 1. I can't think of it. Hold on, give me a sec. It's called Abyssal Stone. That's what it's called. So Abyssal Stone has negative CDR, upwards of 20%. So 40% is wild. With how short his ult is, that's actually really fucking good. I don't know why we did that, but okay. Osiris, I think, goes up an entire fucking tier. Baba Yaga, Home Sweet Home, decreased cooldown from 90 seconds to 70. Fucking still doing that approach, that stratified approach, where the more you level it up, the more on cooldown it is. Honestly, I think she needed it. Baba Yaga felt kind of underwhelming, this entire fucking season. Tiamat's getting a fucking buff. Primordial Onslaught, increased damage scaling by 5%. Cool. We need more damage on our 1. Whatever. Increased damage from on our outburst from 50 to 170 to 50 to 190. So it scales as it goes up. It goes up 5 at the beginning, and then at the end it goes up by 20. A lot more damage. And then Grounding Dive, increased damage from 40 to 200 to 65 to 225, which is it's whatever. You're using that. I don't know if you're really using that much for damage, but more damage nonetheless if you are going to be using it as that. So Tiamat's a lot fucking better, making her scaling to late game a lot easier if you're doing more damage early. So Tiamat, I think, goes up an entire tier as well. Freya, general increased base attack speed from 0.95 to 1. Fine. That's actually pretty good for Freya, obviously, because she's a magical ADC. Our pulse increased bonus damage from 20 to 60 to 25 to 65, so 5 flat each level, which is very nice as well. Pretty small, but not bad. Marticker is getting a buff. Ooh. Acid Raid increased trail damage scaling from 10% to 20%. Oh, 12%, not 20. Jesus. Imagine. That's actually a nice 2% extra damage scaling, especially when you're building Marticarus as full damage. That's actually going to be a lot. Poison Barb, increased explosion damage from 30 to 170 to 35 to 195. So initially a little bit extra by 5, and then late game you're doing an extra 25 damage. Wow, okay. I might have to try that out, because Marticarus was already pumping out late game damage numbies. And so that's going to be even fucking more. Holy shit. Artio, Decompose, increased protection debuff from 3% per stack to 4% per stack, but increased max stacks from 4 to 5. So before you were getting 3% per stack, so what's that, 12? That's right, she got buffed on that too, and now it's 4% per stack. But now it's 5, so you're actually getting 20%. You were getting 12%, right? Increased protection debuff from 3% per stack. Plus it was only 4, so 3 times 4, 12. Now you're getting 4% per stack, but now it's increased by 1 stack, so you're getting 4% times 5. It's 20. So you're going from 12 to 20, which is... That's kind of nutty, I'm not going to lie. I think Artio was in a fine spot. That's a really big buff for her fucking Decompose. That's insane, actually. That's a fuck ton. Okay. Sure. I guess. Artio is a lot better now, too. Ganesha, a lot of reverts here. Actually increased max stacks from 4 to 5. And decrease self-slow 25% to 15%. So this is a buff because you're increasing the stack. Still a revert, because I assume he got nerfed. I don't remember when he got nerfed, I'm going to be honest. Revert decrease self-slow from 25% to 15%. So in your 2, you're going to be a little bit faster, it seems. Which is actually nice. Ganesha's in a fine spot. Susano, Gathering Storm, increased bonus damage scaling from 30% to 35. It's pretty nice. Damage scaling increased from 50 to 55, even more nice. And then Typhoon, decreased cooldown by 10, 100 to 90 seconds. So he's going to be doing a lot more damage, and his ult's going to be up a lot faster as well. It's actually pretty nice, especially for Conquest, I've got to imagine. Okay, Serket's getting a buff. Holy shit. Catalyst, that's her passive, I believe. 2 poison damage scaling increased from 70 to 85%. Oh my god. That's actually good, though. I mean, Serket traditionally didn't have a lot of scaling back in the day. It was more just... That's why she was able to be in the support role for Conquest. But now they you know... It's good that she's getting some more scaling. 3 poison damage scaling increase from 100 to 115. So it is going to be incentivized to do more... to build more damage oriented, but even still, an extra 15% scaling, even if you bought, like, in Joust at least, a Runeforge hammer, that's still an extra 15% scaling based off of the power that you're getting. And you usually build her hybrid anyway, so yeah, that seems to be the case. Serket's really not going to get out of that ban category. They just keep buffing her, so that's a little crazy. And then nerfs. Cabrakan, thank God. Cabrakan is fucking disgusting. So fucking tanky. Refraction shield, increased cooldown from 10 seconds at all ranks to 12 to to 10. So initially you're going to be having an extra 2 seconds off. You do usually level this up first. I know some people like to level up his 1 first. I think the 2 is the best to level up first. So generally speaking, you're not going to feel that too much if you just slow play into the game, as it'll eventually get to 10 seconds where it was before. It's not too bad, but definitely good for early game. Tremors Revert, decreased damage from 20 to 60 plus 40% to 18 to 58 plus 35%. I do remember this. The damage is kind of nutty from that. And then Tectonic Shift, increased cooldown from 75 to 80 seconds. The fact that I was on a 75, this should be honestly like 90 seconds, I'm not gonna lie. So he's still gonna be very tanky. This buff only really reduces his damage output, which is good. And having his shit on, longer cooldown by 5 seconds, I guess. But much needed, honestly. A Wheelix Feather Step, decreased damage from 50 to 190 to 45 to 185. That's an interesting. Wait, 50 to 190 to 45. Okay, so it is 5 overall. Never mind. 5 overall, which is fine. Gravity Surge, increased cooldown from 80 to 60 to 90 to 70, so an extra 10 seconds overall. Shablanque definitely needed a nerf. My god, Poison Darts is such a bloated fucking ability. Increased cooldown from 14 seconds to 15 seconds. Good. Decreased damage scaling per dart from 40% to 35%. Good. I think they should have added another one that reverts the fucking slow, because increasing the slow by like an extra 10% or whatever the fuck it was so unnecessary. I don't know why. It allows you to get like an extra 3 auto attacks in, which late game is death. Like, my god. So, but Poison Darts definitely needed a buff. Poseidon getting a nerf. Finally getting final nerf on the update notes. Not to say Poseidon was any good, but anyways, Poseidon Whirlpool will increase cooldown from 15 to 11 to 15 to 13. So initially you're not going to be doing the difference isn't going to be insane. It's going to be the exact same, but once you start leveling it up, you're going to start to feel that extra 2 seconds. And then Release the Kraken, increase cooldown from 90 seconds to 100. I'm going to be honest, the cooldown, I don't know how I feel about that. I mean, the cooldown's probably obviously impactful. Having that up so often, saying like, what the fuck? Poseidon just had his Kraken. What the hell? So that I think that definitely has a play in it. But a lot of times it's his fucking burst, I feel like. But that's it. So actually, not too much, as I expected. So if we look over the main things, I think really Shablanque, Cabrakan are the main 2 nerfs. Serket getting a buff, Ardio getting a buff, Articarus getting a buff, Tiamat's buff, Osiris's buff is really fucking crazy, a little bit of Guan, and those are the main ones. Some of the buffs here that I do want you to pay attention to that might be really good. Spear of Desolation, Dawnbringer, and that's kind of it. A little bit of duality maybe if you guys are into your duality builds. Other than that, that's basically it. So laughs of the past. I'm curious. I'm not really curious at this point. We kind of got our confirmation that they are going to keep doing this like I suspected them to do. Didn't actually know, but it is probably just going to be routine maintenance. I'd be curious maybe if they change this up later once Smite 2 starts to become a thing, if they really want to put more effort towards Smite 1, depending on the player base, how many people are playing. I'll be curious on that, but I'm going to continue doing these. I might go in play Smite 1 here and there, depending on how many people want to watch it. I might do a poll or some shit. But I've been having a lot of fun on Smite 2 with all the content, learning new things. It's actually pretty fun and refreshing. But again, I'm going to be doing Smite 2 update patch notes as well. So let me know if you guys want to see that as well too. But yeah, 12.1 laughs of the past updates patch notes review. Let me know what you guys think. Do you guys agree, disagree with what I say, or none of the above, whatever you want to say? Like, comment, and subscribe. My Discord is in the description down below if you want to join. Great community if you haven't joined already. Twitch is in the description down below as well. I'm gonna start saying that as well, because my Twitch, I do stream Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays, and maybe once or twice throughout the week sporadically. So if you do want to catch me while I'm live, I also stream on YouTube as well for some of you who pop in occasionally. But I do stream on Twitch mainly. if you want to take a look at that in the description down below. Memberships are open from tier 1, 99¢ a month, to $2.99. There are some designated perks for that as well if you want to take a look at that. Obviously, not necessary, not mandatory, not necessary, but definitely much appreciated if you do join. But I think that is everything that I have for you. So with that being said, thank you guys for watching.